I'm going to show you a simple way of thinking that if you're at 0, it will get you to 10 grand a month. If you're at 10 grand a month, it will get you to 50 grand a month. And if you're at 50 grand a month, it will get you to 100 grand a month in your business. And when I learned this, I went from broke to making $9.2 million with my first online course. I later sold coaching programs and software. I made $35 million total for my online business. And I show you that screenshot so you know it's real, because there's way too many fake gurus out there that don't even have any hair on their nuts and they're teaching you how to become a millionaire. I'll explain this little drawing in a second. It's actually something used by Elon Musk and Steve Jobs, so it's wildly effective for the small business owner. But I'll illustrate this with a principle first. Just earlier today, I was coming home from the gym. As I'm coming in the door, there's a big glass door that opens and there's a facial recognition system. Now, most people here in the Middle East have very dark skin. My white ass has pale white, snow white, paper mache skin. And so when I look into the facial recognition screen, the lights blow out my face and it doesn't recognize me. So here I am, unable to get into my apartment. And the reason I was in such a hurry was because one of my clients, his name's TJ, we helped him write an online presentation for his company. And he did $750,000 cash collected in his very first presentation. And a really cool offer as well is like how to start a sustainable farm, which apparently is a wildly popular market. So I am really in a hurry to get up and do this success interview, because I know that when I have a student success that good and I share it with my audience, more people buy. I mean, that's just common sense. So I'm very excited to get up to my apartment, and it was 5 minutes until I had to do the interview. And so as this facial recognition system is not working, I'm looking through the glass and the guy sees me. He's seen me come in 1,000 times. I come in and out every day. And I look at him and I go, and he could see that it was not working. It was not working. And of course, instead of just letting me in the door, he kind of looks at me and he looks at the screen and he looks at me and he's like, not working? And I'm like, no, not working. Can you let me in? He's like, can you try again? And I'm just thinking like, dude, just let me in the door. You know I live here. Why are you wasting my time? And I'm just like, as the seconds go by, and it's probably a total of 15 seconds, my blood is boiling. And if you're anything like me, when someone wastes your time, especially when you have something very important to do, you just get this internal like epic rage and your blood feels like it's about to spew out of your eyes. And I say, bro, let me in. So he lets me in. And of course, I start arguing with the guy. I'm like, dude, do you have no manners? You know I live here. You know, like, why are you doing that? Why are you making me wait? And as I'm arguing with this guy who clearly does not care about my day, I realize I'm spending time arguing with this security guard that is not going to change his behavior whatsoever. He's not going to care tomorrow at all. Instead of going up to my apartment and conducting an interview with a client that made 750 grand from my program, which obviously would make me a lot more money. And so, of course, I just stop arguing, go up and do my interview. Now, the principle here is this. Your biggest breakthroughs in business come from eliminating time wasters, not adding more tasks. The money is made in the minutes you don't waste on mindlessness. Which brings me to this. Kevin O'Leary explained this on an episode of Diary with the CEO, that he used to work for Steve Jobs. And Steve Jobs had this thing called signal to noise ratio. And how he explained it was Steve would not think about the big picture of Apple. He would not think about what he was going to do in a year, what he was going to do in 6 months. He didn't really think that far ahead, which is contrary to what most people believe about Steve Jobs. Instead, what he did was focus on what needed to happen in the business in the next 18 hours. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, the next 18 hours you are awake. And so if we look at this chart, we will see that here's the 18 hours you're awake, and here's the 6 hours you sleep. You can push that to 8 or 9, and good on you if you can, but most I get is 6. And what Kevin said was Steve had an 80-20 signal to noise ratio, which meant that 80% of what he focused on was signal, meaning what needed to happen to move the business forward now. The other 20% was noise, stuff that is in the future that doesn't really going to make an impact today. And maintaining that 80-20 balance is what built Apple. But then he said the only person he ever knew that has a better signal-to-noise ratio than Steve Jobs is Elon Musk, who has a 100% signal, no noise ratio, which is why he has done what he's done, even in comparison to Steve Jobs. Now, most entrepreneurs, possibly you watching this right now, whether you're just starting from scratch or whether you have things going but you're struggling to build momentum, and if you're anything like me, especially when I started, I had a very high noise-to-signal ratio, which means most of my day was spent on the future, on my vision, on what I was going to do 6 months from now, what I was going to become, what my brand was, all this like just nothing tangible that would put money in the bank right now. And only 20%, if not less, was stuff that would actually get me paid. And so the more you can move the signal to the majority, the more money you will make. Because right now, if you're watching this, I guarantee you that you know something you can do in your business right now, no matter how painful, no matter how tedious, something you can do right now that will get $1 in the door. Now, I've made millions in this business, and to this day, I make this mistake. And my new COO reminded me of this just the other day. I did a live stream where I broke down Alex Hormozi's $105 million in a day pitch. It was 3.5 hours. I literally broke down word for word everything that he said. And in the description, I put a little link to apply to work with my company if you want to grow your brand. Well, we had about 10 people apply. One guy was highly qualified, meaning he was like, hey, I really want this. This is good. Like, I have money. I want to invest. He was like glowing application, right? So my COO texts me and he's like, hey, we're booked solid on sales calls. The sales guy doesn't even have any time for the next 4 days. Why don't you just text this guy and ask him if he's ready to invest right now? And, you know, me being 13 years in the game, I'm like, oh, you know, I'm having dinner. I'm busy. And he's like, bro, it's money right now. It's a simple text. Just text the guy. I'm like, all right. So I text the guy, say hello, and literally within 5 minutes, over text, no phone call, bam, $10,000 sale. Now see, that's an example of signal. The signal was doing the stream. The signal was responding to the hot lead. The signal was getting paid. The noise would be like, oh, well, you know, I kind of want to build a bigger brand because, you know, Alex Hormozi, he went mainstream and I'm not mainstream yet and I'm a little old Dan Henry, so I got to think about how I can go mainstream and be more popular like him and maybe I should wear a nose strip. Just like dumb stuff that I'm thinking about, even though I have a great life, I live in Dubai, I take care of my parents. And look, envy is one of the things that will create a lot of noise. You will do great in your business or even have a little small win like your first sale. You'll see somebody else doing better and then you'll be like, oh no, I got to stop what I'm doing and think of something else and have all this noise because I need to be as big as them and I have to think of the future. No, they got where they got. They became what they became because they focused on more signal than noise. Now, if you have an online education business or you're trying to start one, I'll put a link in the description where you can learn how you can put more signal into your business rather than noise. It's actually a custom GPT. It will talk to you, have a conversation with you, and show you how to do this based on what you have going on right now. Remember, the money is made in the minutes you do not waste on mindlessness.